This is a HeadGum podcast.
Ooh, baby! Welcome to another episode of Why Won't You Date Me? A podcast where me, Nicole, Byer, was trying to figure out why I was so single for so long, even though you could come on the floor and tell me it's a shoe. Ooh. My guest today is a comedy powerhouse. You've seen her stealing scenes on shows like Veep, Parks and Recreation, and is it The Minx or just Minx?
Just straight up Minx.
I thought it was The Minx.
No.
Well, that's upsetting for me. She's a writer and director on the Somebody Somewhere, now airing its final season on Max. And I've gotten to work with her, and I think she's so wonderful, and she's so funny, and I love her so much. It's Lennon Parham! Beep, bop, boop, bop, 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 boop, bop, 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 bop. Lennon.
Oh, remember when we fell in love?
Yes, I really do. Well, I have loved you from afar for a very long time.
Well, ditto.
No,
I'm serious.
no, because I got to watch you in New York, and you didn't even know me.
I
And
didn't
would watch
know you.
improvise, and I'd be like, boy, she's so funny.
Aw,
And then you moved away. And then I
I
said,
had to.
oh, no.
I tried to keep teaching improv for so long because I loved my students and I felt like loyalty to them.
Mhm.
But then I kept like having to go to LA and then somebody else would cover and then I felt responsible for that. Like I remember, I think I missed one of my like 101 class shows and I was devastated. It was like they were my
Aw.
children. I was devastated because I had a callback for something. I don't know what
That's
it was
so
for, but
nice.
I loved it. I truly did love it. And I would not have left New York had it not been for like getting jobs in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Because I tried to do the back and forth for 2 years and
That
it was a nightmare.
It's too exhausting.
It was a big nightmare in my relationship. And I was like, this will not stand.
So wait, so were you married then, or were you just
Thank
dating?
God I was married because
Mhm.
I think he would have been like, nah, I'm out. I'm out. This
I
is
can't do this.
too much.
This bitch be in the air too often.
Yeah, for real. 3 weeks here and 1 week in Brooklyn. That's what I was doing.
Oh, God.
It was not good.
Yeah, that fucking sucks.
I was, Seth Morris.
Mm-hmm.
He had a bedroom that I rented. And so I would just be here for 3 weeks doing my like multicam sitcom, which is like
Mhm.
my dream come true, but without my life partner. And then fly back for a week and try to catch up and do all of that. And it was just wasn't good.
I don't know how people do long distance. I think it would make me crazy.
Yeah.
Specifically because I have lots of thoughts and I need to tell you my thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's like, and if we're apart for too long, my thoughts might get annoying.
I get that. But also like, I feel like in my partnership, we're just better together. Like we're
Mhm.
better in person. Like neither one of us like to talk on the phone for any reason. And if I have to schedule a FaceTime with you, it just feels bad, you know?
Yes.
And so and also he's very serious most of the time in his work. He works in education and he needs.
And that's how you guys met, right?
Yes,
For Teach
yes.
for America.
Yes. And so I think being physically with me allows him to release his crazy.
Oh.
If that makes sense. And vice
Yes.
versa. I mean, I do that in my work anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But like I need like the home that we've built, I think of as a sanctuary, kind of like when I'm there, I feel safe. I feel like I can kind of be whatever I need to be. And if I don't have that space,
Mm-hmm.
it sucks.
So when did he decide to move out here?
This was a whole thing. So 2 years back and forth at the same
2 years.
Yes, baby.
Oh my
And
God.
at the same time that I got my first sitcom and was like auditioning for real things for the very first time. And again, I would never have left New York. I love New York so
Mhm.
much. I just went back this weekend. I'm still obsessed.
It's a nice place and the vibes are good and I love it.
Yeah. And we went back after we moved like 3 months later and it was so sad. It
Mhm.
was like getting back together with a boyfriend that you were
Yes.
like, we had to break up because of timing. And you just like are still like, I still love you. But it just won't work. Yeah. So 2 years back and forth. And then I I think it was becoming clear that I was going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And he had started a high school, okay?
Wait, what?
Started a high school.
How do you start a high school?
Exactly. How? It was a charter. So the woman, this amazing woman, Melissa Silberman, was the principal of this high school in Brooklyn called Automotive High School. It's a vocational school.
For automotive.
You got it. To teach you how to learn how to fix cars. But also, he was the assistant principal there and had kind of worked his way up pretty quickly. And she was moving to an admin position in the New York City Public School District, which was a big deal. And so she was like, I want you to take this school that I'm starting over. And it was like a pitch. They had pitched it like as a charter.
And what is a charter school?
Okay, so
there's public, charter,
there's
private.
Public, yeah. So public has a lot of rules, really specific rules about how you have to teach and what you have to teach. Charter, it's like you kind of get to design your own way that you get the information out, and maybe and you're still teaching the core curriculum, but like how it's delivered, and it's a lot less traditional. I mean, school has not changed in like 75 years, like we're still basically all in a one-room schoolhouse.
Yes.
Like Anna Green Gables, like writing on tiny little pads, like with our fingers instead of chalk, right? Like it's been the same for a very, very long time. But like we know kids learn in different ways, kids need different things. Sitting still for kids is hard,
It's so hard.
It's hard for adults. Like, and if you're a child that has failed continually in that system, you don't like learning.
That's me.
Yeah, you don't. You're curious about things, but you were never taught how to follow that curiosity. And so you don't like, all of the things that felt like failure to you. So a lot of times in a charter school, like in my husband's, a lot of the schools that he's worked, because he ran a school here for 4 years that was, it was called New Village Charter, and it was all girls, largely pregnant and parenting girls. So there was a lot of transitory stuff happening. So they would have one advisor that tracked with them all 4 years. So you have like your person that stays with you, knows you, knows how you learn.
Oh, that's fun.
Right? And is also interested in what you're interested in and is going to weave that into what you're learning. So like there were girls that were like, I want to learn about hair and makeup. So they would get internships in like a Beverly Hills salon and learn like,
wait, why don't they do that for everybody?
I know. When you hear about it, you're like, this is the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because nobody told me that, like, my interests were options. Like, I didn't know I could be an actress until I Googled it.
Yeah.
And then it was like, yeah, you can just, like, go to acting school.
Yeah. And I've heard about that acting school, and it sounded crazy.
Bad.
But that's the 90s.
Wait, what's a Montessori school?
Okay, so Montessori is like this woman named Maria Montessori who created, it's mostly preschool, but they do have traditional like elementary, middle, high schools. That teaches kids self-sufficiency pretty early on. So they're given like an hour and a half where they drive whatever they want to do. But there's like,
for a hot second, I thought you meant like drive a car, like that little girl who went to Target. Did you hear about her?
No, please tell me.
Have you heard? You haven't heard about her?
No.
Wait, have you guys? Oh my God. Okay, so this 8-year-old.
I love her already.
Took her family's car
to Target.
And drove to Target.
I think I maybe did hear about it.
And she was weaving back and forth. Yeah. And she made it to Target.
Yeah, good.
She parked the car and spent $400. And they just checked her out at Target.
Are you
And nobody
serious?
was like, where's your mummy and daddy? Nobody asked her. And then when the cops found her, because someone finally reported her, she had the officers buy her Starbucks. She is an icon for the ages. And she only hit one mailbox. You should have
been her for Halloween.
I should have been her for Halloween. Just driving a little minivan. This comes out in December, but Halloween just happened, and I handed out candy to the trick-or-treaters.
Yes.
And nobody says trick-or-treat anymore.
No, they just walk up and open their bag.
Which is strange.
Do they say Happy Halloween at least?
Parents made them. They say, what do we say?
Oh,
and
yeah.
one little girl, she was walking away, went, yeah. Happy Halloween, trick-or-treat. Thank you so much. And I was like, oh my God.
Was she like a golden girl or something?
No, she was a princess.
Oh, perfect.
A very sassy princess.
That's perfect.
But yeah. Did you dress up for Halloween?
I love Halloween. Yes, we did a family Beetlejuice characters.
Oh,
so
that's nice.
my daughter was Lydia in the red wedding dress, and my son was Beetlejuice, which is very fits his character, like in real life. And then
do you have to say his name 3 times for him to appear? That's all I know about Beetlejuice. I've never seen it.
Yeah, that's one of your, that'll be on your other podcast, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm
Good.
sure.
You'll have
Somebody will make me watch it.
You'll have notes.
It's exhausting watching all these things that people love.
Well, you'll get the references finally in all of the improv shows that you have been in for decades.
You know what's funny? After watching Star Wars, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So many scenes I've been in make sense.
Oh, that's what a Boba Fett is?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like Jar Jar Binks. I had no idea what a Jar Jar Binks was.
Yeah, nobody really knows. Truthfully.
But I like Jar Jar Binks, and I'm the only person.
Yeah.
Wait, how did you meet your husband? You met Teach for America, and when did you decide to start dating?
Pretty quickly. So I did Teach for America for 2 years, and then I moved to New York and tried to be an actor, which worked.
It did.
Thanks.
Look at you. Wait, where were you teaching for America? In what state?
I was in Mississippi. I was in the Mississippi Delta in a town
Is that
called
by Oxford?
Yeah, that counts as the Delta for sure.
I have family there.
You do?
I don't
in
know
Ole
them.
Miss?
I don't know them,
Yeah.
but I think that's where they are.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a very fancy part of Mississippi, I guess.
Oh, then that's not where my family's from. I don't think they're fancy, but maybe they are fancy. Oh,
well,
boy.
all I know, I guess Oxford, it's like the home of Ole Miss, which is like a very prestigious Mississippi college. But there's
Wait, I lied. I do know some family down there.
Okay.
I just like thought about my cousin seeing this and being like, you know me.
He's like, I swear to God.
You definitely know me and my children and my wife.
And they live in Oxford, you think?
I think they live in Oxford. I know they live in Mississippi.
What does he do for work?
A coach. A teacher? A teacher.
Okay.
It's hard to keep up with everybody.
There's a lot of cousins,
There's
I bet.
so many cousins. My grandmother was one of, I think, 7 or 6.
Yeah.
It's tough to count.
That's a lot.
Wait, so then you moved to New York.
So then I moved to New York, and you couldn't tell me nothing because I had just been in front of a room full of high school students. So like walking into auditions was like no problem.
Wait, that is kind of incredible because high school students are the scariest.
The worst.
They're
the
so
most
scary.
I mean, also everybody deserves an equal education, but yeah, they're terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like if I could succeed with them, then it was sort of like just a matter of time. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. My friend's daughter, she's terrifying. She's 16 and like I'm always worried she's going to make fun of me. And once I was eating a sandwich and I didn't eat the crust and she went, "What are you, a child?" And I was like, "No, I just don't want the crust." And she was like, "The crust is food. What are you, 6?" And I was like, "No, I'm not 6. I'll eat the crust." And then I like suffer
But you
through
don't
the crust.
like the crust.
No.
See, that's what an adult decision that you can make
That's
is
what
to
I
not
thought.
eat the crust.
But then she called me a child about it.
But if you cut the crust off ahead of time, that feels more childish. Because then you're like, I don't know.
I don't know. It really got me. And then I
that
ate
cuts
the
to
crust.
the core.
Yes.
That cuts to
And she's
the
always
core.
doing stuff like that where I'm like, "Oh my God, am I a child?"
Yeah. Well, probably a little still.
Yeah, you know. Wait, so did you meet your husband in Mississippi?
No, in New York.
Okay.
In New York. So there was a New York version of Teach for America called the New York City Teaching Fellows that had just started. And he had been teaching Catholic middle school. And you didn't have to be accredited to teach in a Catholic school. Okay. Which is wild business.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So like
You
a person who doesn't even have a college degree, could go to a Catholic school and be like, "I want to teach the children."
I don't truly know the answer to that, but probably.
That's wild.
So he did have an undergrad degree, but did not have a
Mhm.
master's or any kind of educational degree. He had a bachelor's in poetry. I think that's right.
Okay.
Anyway, so he had been teaching middle school and he joined this program because they would pay you to get your master's
Mhm.
and you commit to teaching 2 years. And that's how Teach for America works. So that's why it was similar. And I got hired because a bunch of TFA transplants were admin people. And I was like an advisor to the 30 incoming teachers. And he was in my class.
Oh
So
my goodness.
we
You were the
did-
teacher. He was the student.
yeah,
Oh,
he's
that's-
actually older than me, but I had lesson planning. We did lesson planning and classroom management. I
Mhm.
was always make him go first because he was the only one who knew what they were doing. And he's very handsome. He's super foxy and he's very gentle and kind. And I was just I had never met anyone like him. And I was like, what is going on?
Mhm.
And I was 100%, he was out of my league. So I kind of tiptoed. And I had also heard that he was in a relationship.
Uh-huh.
And so I just kind of kept my distance. But we all went out for drinks, as you do. And then teachers go hard, harder than anyone on a Friday night.
Really?
Yes. And he was placed at this school in Williamsburg, and it was
Mhm.
really close to where I lived. So all the teachers would get together and I would meet up with them. And that happened a couple weeks in a row. And then I remember asking another teacher, what's his deal?
Mhm.
And she was like, he's a really good guy. If he's flirting with you, you should go for it. And I'm like, but is he in a relationship? And
Mhm.
she said, oh, he just broke up with his longtime girlfriend a couple months ago.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, he's sad. I'm interested. I'm interested.
Ooh, I can make that sad man happy.
And so I had 2 ciders and alcoholic ciders. And I took his little suede newsy cap and I put it on my head.
A newsy cap.
And I said, I think it would be a good idea if you went out with me. And he said, I think that would be a good idea. And that was it.
Wow, Lennon, that is
pretty-
smooth. I
Is that
think
liquid
you
courage?
should go out with me. Huh. I think I should. That's incredible. I don't think that would ever work for me. I think you should go out with me. I don't know, Nicole.
No, but
I don't think
I
so.
don't know. Try it.
I just simply don't think it would work. So then, do you remember your first date?
Yes, deeply.
Okay. What was it?
He organized that we would go to his favorite restaurant, which was a Thai restaurant in Soho called Kelly and Ping. And then we went to play pool at Houston Billiards. And I remember talking to my dad ahead of the date because I was nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad said, I told him we're playing pool and I'm real competitive. And he was like, well, Lennon, if you like him, let him win. And I was like, okay, Dad, I can't let him win. But he happened to be better than me, so he did win. But I remember at the dinner, again, I don't know what the theme was, but he was literally telling me, I don't think he'd been on a date in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just telling me all the people in his family that had died and the tragic ways they had died and all the divorces. And I was just like, I'm in. I'm in. I don't care. I'm in. And it was just so I don't know, so charming. Maybe I was so into him and being able to open up to me or.
That's very funny that he was like, oh, no, we're playing pool. I'll tell you about people who are dead. That's so funny. I love that you were like, I am in. This is it for me.
I was smitten. From the get-go.
I didn't realize, but on most first dates, I tell them that my parents are dead.
Yeah, sure.
So I see why he was going deep in telling tragic things.
Yeah.
Because you gotta let them know.
This is who I am.
People are dead and they keep dying.
This is the truth. That's something that's never going to change.
No. Yeah. I mean, my grandpa, he keeps threatening to die. He's 90. He just turned 96. And we went out to Chicago to celebrate his birthday. And he had gotten a calendar in the mail, and I said, "Where are you going to hang it?" And he was like, "Nowhere. I don't think I'm going to be around to use the calendar for long." And I was like, "What?
Why would you think that?
You're fine.
You're fine.
He walks around. He gardens.
Yeah.
He's doing great. Like, I think he's going to outlive us all."
Probably so.
And it's funny because he sends me home with tomatoes every time I go there.
Yes.
And I can buy tomatoes here.
I know.
But he likes to send me home with them.
Homegrown.
But he won't go outside. He stands at the door and yells which ones I should pick.
Yes.
And
which ones
then
are ready.
When I bring back the wrong ones, he tells me that those are the wrong ones, but there's nothing we can do because we can't
You've
put
already
them back.
picked them. So then what do? Let them ripen and...
I bring them home.
Yeah.
And they get all banged up. And then I send a picture and I go...
What, tomatoes don't do well on the airplane? In the overhead?
Nope, sure don't.
Surprise.
He decided like 3 years ago, I like rum. I never announced it.
That you like rum?
Yes. That me personally specifically like rum.
That's what the children like.
Yes. Yeah. And he would go downstairs and steal rum from my uncle for me, even though I never asked for this rum. And this year at his birthday, he was like, "Look in the cabinet." And it was rum. And I was like, "Wow, Grandpa, thank you for the rum." And then we had already drank a bottle of wine. And he was like, "Is that wine bottle empty?" And we were like, "Yes." And then he was like, "Give me the rum bottle." And I was like, "What are you doing?" He was like, pouring the rum in the wine bottle so you can take it back to LA. And I was like, "You want me to walk around an airport with an open bottle of wine filled with rum?" And he was like, "Yes." And I said, "Oh, I can't. It has to be under 3.5 ounces. Remember last time we flew, they took all of your cologne?" Because it wasn't. I told him that he could only
the Big Daddy size.
Small things. And he packed the giant ones.
Yeah.
So they took it.
What cologne is he into?
It's called Brute. It's,
I've heard
nasty.
of it. Yeah, I've heard of it. I think there's a green lid.
Yes, it's a green bottle.
Yeah.
And also, he set the alarms off because he had razors in his shoes. He thought they were going to take his razors, so he put them in his shoes. Like his shaving razors.
Oh my God.
And they couldn't find out. Like at TS, I went through pre-check because I said, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So my sister went with him.
Yeah.
And his shoes went off. And he's so old that they just let him through. And I was like, he could have been like a terrorist.
Yeah, with a bunch of razors.
Yeah, but he was just transporting razors in his shoes. Anyway, I told him I couldn't take the rum in the wine bottle. So then I was like, I need 3.5 ounces. And then my uncle was like, "Come downstairs. I have a bottle." So my other uncle went downstairs and brought a bottle for zinc. So we filled the zinc bottle with rum.
Yeah.
And
so
then
you could have a little shot on the plane.
Yep. And then put it in a plastic bag. And then I was like, "Oh, it's going to leak." So then my aunt was like, "Oh, get some saran wrap." So then we put saran wrap between the lid and the bottle.
To seal it.
To seal it. And then I was like, this is insane. And I was like, there are 6 adults here. And nobody was like, stop. Everyone was like, we're in this together.
He needs you to have that rum for some reason.
Yes.
What kind of rum is it? Like spiced?
Mount Gay rum.
Okay.
Which is
Jamaican.
It's made in Barbados.
Yeah.
And he is from Barbados.
Yes.
And it's the best rum. I can buy it here.
Yeah, they sell it everywhere.
Everywhere. At every major grocery store.
But it has to go through his fingers.
Yes. So I did bring it back to LA. And then I took a picture and sent it to the group chat. And everyone was like, "Congratulations." Nobody was like, "Oh, that's so silly." They were like, "You did it."
You could also pack a full bottle in your next time.
But I don't like checking my bag.
Oh, ever?
No.
No matter how long you're gone for?
Nope, I will not check a bag.
Wow. Why? You had a bad experience?
No. I've just heard about other people's bad
Losing
experiences.
their bags?
Where they're like, "Oh, it didn't make it on the plane." Or actually, no, I'm a liar. When I went to Africa, I did check a bag because I packed like I was moving to Africa.
Sure.
I had
just in case you loved it so much, you didn't come back.
Well, for a minute, I did want to move to Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Because there is a place called the Devil's Pool, and I wanted to become a tour guide.
Yeah.
At the Devil's Pool. Because you sit in a waterfall that's like one of the biggest in the world, and it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have to take a break.
Still available to you if you want.
You think?
Yeah.
Lennon, we have to take a break. We're back. Lennon, who proposed to who?
He proposed to me.
How did he do it? Where?
We had talked about it, and so he had been engaged prior to me, and that had not ended well. So I think that was a little scary for him. I had never been engaged before, so I was like, let's go.
Let's do it.
So I knew it was coming, but we'd had to have a conversation where I said, I want this, like I really want, and why I wanted it, and that I wanted to officially be his, and for us to have that, create a family that, stood on its own legally. And also I wanted to have a party where I was like, we love each other, Yeah. So once we got through that, then we went ring shopping. And then it was spring break in April, and we went to the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens.
Ooh.
And it was cherry blossom season. And it was also all the Hasidic Jewish folks were on vacation there as well. So it was just like us and like a ton of Hasidic Jews, which was interesting. And we were sitting underneath a cherry tree. And I was like, he was like behind me with his legs I was scooted up, spooning in a spoony situation. And his right hand started like going wild. Like, I think he had put like the ring in the camera bag. But he just kept like, I was like, what the fuck is happening? Because his hand just like was going back and forth from his thigh to the thing. And then I think he said something along the lines of like, I don't want this relationship to ever get in the way of what we want, like of our dreams or something like that. And I was like, at that point, I shut down because I knew what was coming and I didn't listen at all. And so I have blacked out, and I don't think I yes, or I just started sobbing because then I saw the ring, and then it was kind of messy. And the thing about like us not getting in the way of each other's dreams was kind of wild.
I would have thought I was being broken up with.
Yeah.
That's like breakup talk.
Yeah.
I don't want to get in the way of your dreams, so I got to let you go.
It's just like the timing is always like the first time he told me that he loved me, we were in a diner and he took a huge messy bite of burger right after. And I was like, even if I wanted to say I love you, which I do want to say I love you back, but I'm not going to do it while you're like dripping grease down your face. Yeah, but anyway.
How long into the relationship did he say I love you?
I don't know. Probably within like 6 months. I'm going to guess. Yeah.
I don't know what the normal time frame is.
Yeah. I don't either. I think I knew that I was like, it's this guy forever, like pretty early on. And every time we had a fight, I was terrified he was going to break up with me. Because I was like, this is it. This is it. Also, I had never really had fights with anybody. And so I wasn't good at fights.
I'm not good at fights either. I'm like, oh, you just hate me.
Yeah.
Y'all, you just hate me. I got into a fight with an ex once, and he was like, I don't think you're listening to me. And talking to you feels like I'm talking to a wall. And I said, okay, so now I'm a wall. I'm a big fat wall. And that's not the correct answer to that.
Right.
You'd be like, I'm sorry. I guess I wasn't listening.
In your house, what was conflict?
Conflict was a lot of my dad going, why did you spend this much money on this? And my mom going, because I wanted it.
Yeah.
And then that was like kind of the end of things.
Yeah.
She would just be like, I wanted it. And you'd be like, oh, okay. Okay. I was talking to a friend last night, and she was like, if I die, I would like my husband to move on. And I was like, I think if I died, I don't want my boyfriend to move on. Or if he does move on, I really want him to mention me a lot. Be like if she cooks something and be like, wow, that's really good. Nicole never cooked for me, and I like that about her. Like, I would really want him to, like, mention me a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
And then be like, well, she's dead, so that's why I keep mentioning her. Like, you're not competing with her. She's dead. Do you want your husband to, like, move on and be happy if you die? What a wild question.
I think whatever, I mean, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you want him to, like, mention you a lot?
I mean, I want to be a hard act to follow.
Yes.
I'll say that. And I would like it if, well, it should be difficult. Whatever happens, it should definitely be difficult. But I would like for him to find companionship again. I would love for him to be loved and taken care of by someone, for sure.
I think that's what I want too, but I want him to mention me all the time.
Yeah.
Like, even after sex, that was really great. But Nicole, wow, the mouth on her.
What do you do? I need to know.
A lot of fun stuff.
Tricks.
You got to move your tongue a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, like, get it wet and slurp on it. And then you're like, make noises.
I remember I learned a lot from watching that HBO After Hours show about Ladies of the Night. Do you remember that documentary that was on HBO?
No, what's it called?
No idea. But there was so much slurping and like, because they were like tracking these women that worked the streets, and such a diversion. They were, and they would turn tricks, and then they would be doing interviews with these women. And I think it was in New York or maybe Atlantic City or something. And
I think I remember, and I think it was Atlantic City.
Yeah. And this is like an area of town, right, where you go. And a girl would get in the car, and then you would just hear it. You wouldn't see it, obviously. And it was a lot of liquid noise. And I was like, oh, this is news I can use.
Wet and slurpy.
But also saliva grosses me out.
It is gross.
It's so gross.
But
you have to kind of
own.
like go, it doesn't matter.
Oh.
Like my son thinks it's so cool to do things with saliva, like artwork sometimes. Like he spits on a piece of paper and like smudges it. And I'm like, I mean, that's disgusting. I mean, I get why you're doing it, right? It's
How old is he?
watercolors. But I was like, let's use water. Let's not use our own personal saliva. Yeah.
Wait, how old is
he? He's 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How old's your daughter?
11 and a half.
Oh. Do you miss them being babies?
Yes.
I love babies.
You do?
Love. They smell good.
Yeah.
They're cute, and they need you.
It's true.
And I don't like when they become independent and have thoughts.
The needy thing is really intense though. Like, because they need you in like a not funny way, like in a to survive. And the maternal thing that happens, the biological thing that happens is incredibly overwhelming.
Oh, see, I don't know anything about that. I've only nannied where I'm like, okay, you're either hungry, you're either sleepy, you either shit in your pants, or you just want to be cuddled.
Yeah.
Or take a nap.
Well, it's nice to have the answer, to always have the answers, right? And to be the one that they go to for that. But I think I realized I loved being pregnant. Like that I loved it.
Why?
I think because it was like the first time my body ever looked like it was supposed to. Like, it looked like the pictures. You know what I mean? I'd always felt like a weird gangly beast, or like
not a beast.
You know, yeah. When you go through puberty, you feel like a monster.
Yeah.
And then I all of a sudden was like my body was like really good at this. Like I could have had, if I had started earlier, I could have had like so many babies, like in fields, like in pioneer fields. I don't know if it's like, I don't know if I'm from like strong European stock or something, but like, anyway, I was really good at it, and I love being pregnant. And I also like took really good care of myself in a way that I didn't when I wasn't pregnant because I was doing it for someone else.
That's nice. I
Yeah.
don't think I would take care of myself. I think I'd just like waddle around and eat Snickers. But I think I'd look like a penguin. So I think that's nice.
Yeah.
I think. I think I'd waddle around and look like a penguin. I think everyone would be like, she's so
You
cute.
probably would.
Look
you
at
would,
her.
You would be really cute pregnant.
Thank you. But I simply couldn't have a child. Not in my house.
No.
I have too many things. Some would say toys, but I don't want them played with.
Yeah, I get that.
You know?
Yeah.
What's the most romantic thing your husband's done for you?
Ever in my whole life?
Ever in your whole life. How long have you been together? 17 years?
We've been married 18 years.
Oh my God, I just guessed.
And we have been together 24 years.
Oh my God, that's so long.
Yeah.
What's the secret to longevity?
I don't know. I didn't do it before this.
Oh.
I was only, I mean, I guess it's the person. It's like you just have to want to figure it out because, you know, you have to want to be together more than you want to be apart, I guess.
I like that.
Also, I think when I met him, you know how people annoy you?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So you're like, oh, the way that this person's fucking breathing or like the way, you know, just like there's just things that like in general humans annoy me about. And when being with him, it was the first time I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. Like the way he breathes weird or, you know what I mean? Like that. And then I was like, I was endeared to him and I was like, that would annoy me if someone else were doing it. But because it's him, I'm like, okay.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
I love that.
So do you have a type?
I don't think I have a type. But if I look at my roster of the last couple of guys I have dated,
yeah,
I would say they look kind of similar.
Yeah.
But I stopped chasing people years ago. Or I've tried to stop chasing people and I let people come to me.
And what's coming to you is different than what you might be chasing?
No. Maybe.
You were chasing what's coming to you?
I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know if I have a type. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say. I'm willing to meet anybody and see if it works.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought I wanted to date like an actor for a really long time or like a comedian.
Like somebody that maybe is in on it, kind of.
Yeah.
And would understand.
Also didn't, if that makes sense.
Right.
I'm like, maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. But the person I'm currently dating is not a comedian. And
is this the same person you were dating when we shot Ding?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it's nice because he like gets my schedule and stuff and he's like interested in my work and stuff, but like is not a part of the world. And it's really nice.
Okay.
Do you find it nice that your husband is not a part of the world?
Very nice. Yeah. He also has no tolerance for like the like Hollywood scene and like he just is like, I can't do that. Like he won't go to like if it's a certain kind of party, I'm like, I'm going to go out by myself because if it's like a show that I'm in and I'm proud of, I'll bring him, right? And he gets to meet everybody. But like early on when I first got my like first big agent, I went to CAA. I was at CAA and I brought him because I was like, he's going to be so impressed with what a big deal I am. And we went and there was the head of TV at that time. And I don't remember his name, but he was like, he was just such a like Hollywood jackass. And my husband was just like, what the fuck? Like, it was just like, he just had no time or space for it. And the guy was like, do you love your wife? Isn't she great? Don't you love her? And he was like, do I love my wife? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Very much.
And then my husband's given name is Junior, Junior Javier. But everybody calls him June. That's what he went by. Professionally, he goes by Javier now. But when I introduced him, I introduced him as June. And the guy was like, June? That's my wife's name. And I was like, abort mission. We got to get out. We have to get out of here. Because I was like, literally, they're going to get into fisticuffs. It felt dangerous.
That's funny to be like, do you love your wife? Do you love her? Wait, Lennon, we do have to wrap it up.
Okay.
But do you have any advice for single people?
I think it's just such a different world out there than where I'm coming from. Than where I just the way that people meet is just so different, and the amount of information out about it feels scary to me. Yes, it feels scary to you.
It is. It's terrifying.
I think, like, if it were me, I would be out doing the thing that I love, which you are.
Yes.
And opening myself up to whatever that space is to see if there's someone like a kindred spirit in that space, whatever it might be.
There's a man on Instagram who says that. He's like, you're not going to find the love of your life in a club. What do you like doing? Camping? Go camping. You'll find somebody at the campsite.
Yeah, something like that. Like I met my husband in the educational world, but that was only because I believed in it, so we had like similar, even though we're from very different backgrounds, I feel like we met each other on like common moral ground, if that makes sense. And that helped. We're also both weirdos, which is lovely. But yeah, I don't know. I think just, I don't know. I guess if you're like looking to find partnership, it would be a different answer than if you're just like looking to get like nightly action.
Nightly action.
Because I'm sure that's nice.
A nice, sensible way to say that. Nightly action.
But I think if you're looking for someone who you're going to partner with for a long-term situation, I would just be as much of myself as possible at every interaction, if that makes sense.
I think it makes sense, and I think it's good advice. Also, Lennon, would you date me?
Oh, hell yeah.
Ooh, baby, I love it. Lennon, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Lennon, do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, you should watch Somebody Somewhere, which is on Max or HBO. Season 1 and 2, and now 3 are streaming, and it's the final season, and I'm really proud of it. And it's one of the most beautiful television shows on.
It's really great.
The intranets.
The internets.
And also the
networks.
The networks.
And if you like this episode of Why Won't You Date Me, you can like it, you can rate it, you can subscribe, you can give me 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And if you write me something nasty to whywontyoudatemepodcast@gmail.com, I will read it. Also, I'm running low on these. Please send some. Okay. Oh, Nicole, I get turrid. What's that word?
Turgid.
What does that mean?
Like torn up inside.
Oh, I get
like a storm.
And erect every time I hear your voice. My pre-cum leaks out of my swollen magenta crotch popsicle with every sexy syllable you utter. My reproductive slime melts through my big, thick grandpa undershorts and slithers down the inside of my legs like I've been riding a hobby horse made of snot. No. I want to fuck the sounds that come out of your mouth, so I took an old Teddy Ruxpin doll and put your podcast on tape and played your interviews at 1.5 speed so Teddy's mouth would masticate with great vigor, and it would cause my slimy, rock-hard front tube to expel its thick, gummy tadpole soup all up in Teddy's grill. My favorite word you say, the word that causes me to moan with pleasure every time you say it, is super soak. Can you say that word, but at 1.5 times the speed so I can come in my bear's mouth? Super soak, super soak, super soak, super soak. That was fun. Thank you. Bye-bye.
That was a HeadGum podcast.